Hello, and welcome back to Dungeons and Devs. Uh, I'm Xavier. I'm the dungeon master showrunner for this weird experimental thing. And today I've got a good group of folks, some returning, one who's never been on Dungeons and Devs before, but we're happy to have you. But let's go down the line, introduce ourselves, talk a little bit about how we got into game dev, and maybe have a little bit of discussion. Then we can get into the game. So, Chris, would you care to introduce yourself and tell us a little about you?
Sure. Hey, I'm Christopher Nelson. I started playing Dungeons and Dragons when I was in high school, and I was the group DM, and I didn't know it at the time for about 15 years, but that was my entry into game dev. It's kind of my first experience, creating games, creating game experiences. Then I kind of farted around with a bunch of different projects, went to college, got into modding for video games, and that's how I got into my current job. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back a second time. And welcome. Elyse, what about you? This is your first time on Dungeons and Devs, but tell us a little about tell us a little about you, what you do and how you got into game dev.
I'm an animator at Creative Assembly. I've been working on the Total War games. I got into game dev just because I kind of always wanted to be an animator. And then I went to uni and I was like, this seems cool. And just kind of that's what happened. I don't know. It's always been a very straightforward path for me. I just grew up with loads of great games and loads of great films and was like, hey, you get paid to do this. So whatever it takes, this is what I'm doing. Just find someone to pay me and then we're all good. So thankfully, it worked out.
Yeah, well, awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming on. And those games are looking great, especially animation wise. I look at all of the trailers, and I'm like, God, this is just freaking amazing. I 10
actually got
years
given
ago.
some really cool plaques recently.
Yeah.
They're really heavy. Look.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome. Yeah.
You gotta hold it still.
Oh, sorry.
Awesome.
Very cool.
That's very cool. 2 million sales. That's
They're
amazing.
really heavy. Sorry, that's like a humble brag, right?
Well, congratulations on
Quite
that. That's really cool to hear about. And last but not least, Jarran, tell us a little about yourself, how you got into game development, a little about what you do.
Yeah, I'm character artist at Hammerhead VR. I got into game dev because I wanted to make games, and I went to uni to make games, having no idea what I was doing. And then I was like, well, making characters seems cool. So I'm going to do this now. This is my career path.
Well, awesome. And thank you for coming back. I believe this is your third time on Dungeons and Devs?
Yeah.
I think that's correct. Yeah. Well, it's great to have you back. It's always a pleasure to see you, and thank you for being here. As for myself, I'm Xavier. I'm a 3D character artist at Insomniac Games. I'm currently working on Spider-Man for the PS4. I think they just released some sort of video at PSX where you can see my hand very briefly. So yeah, I'm clearly on my way to fame. Yeah, it's going to be great.
I saw that tweet. Was it not your hand?
No,
it was a different name.
Oh, it was my hand, but the name next to it was like in the same section where my art director was talking, so it just kept her name on the screen while it showed my hand. And yeah, apparently I'm her body double now, so there's that. Yeah, it's a great time. But leading out from that, I think it's a good idea to talk about game dev related stuff when we have a bunch of game developer people together in the same space, even if it's just through a Skype call like this. So let's talk about some game dev stuff, and specifically, let's talk about your career path. And you guys went to school for game development. I didn't, but I know lots of people who have. Well, Chris, maybe not you, but like half the group here has actually gone to school for game development, and that's actually interesting because I've noticed that through this project, through just knowing lots of people in real life in game dev, going to school is becoming more common, but it's still maybe only about 50-50 people going to school for game dev. If you could give some advice to people who are going to school or considering school for game development, whether it's for art or programming, design, anything like that, what are some words that you would some words of encouragement or some words of advice you might give them if they're, thinking about going to school or thinking about taking their own path, sort of like Chris and I did. Chris, do you want to weigh in on this since you're just
Sure.
on that
Sure.
side of the screen? We can go
So
down the
I
line.
did go, yeah, sure. So I did go to school. I studied neurobiology though, so nothing to do with game dev. I actually left school and went straight into game dev because of a modding thing I was doing on the side. But anyways, what I would say is even if you if you take like a more traditional college course in really anything, or college degree in anything, even if it's not game dev, take your writing assignments seriously. It's teaching you how to communicate with people in a very clear and technical manner. And that stuff is useful for anything, including game dev. I got a lot of writing experience in college that helps me a lot, doing design and production. So yeah, that stuff is useful no matter what you choose to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. I seem to run into people all the time in my work that they really need those communication skills. Elyse, what about you? Is there some word of advice or something that you would recommend for people to either invest their time in or just to keep in mind while going to school or maybe not pursuing school? Well,
if you're gonna go to school and then no, well, if you're gonna go to school, university in the UK for games, you've obviously got to go to Hertfordshire because that's where I went, which is obviously the best. But no, I'm joking. But I think that if you want to be an animator, there are definitely a lot more options that I wasn't aware of that you can do instead of university. There's like loads of online animation courses that will teach you how to be an animator, which is amazing. So like if you wanted to save a bit of money and do it all on your own, I think you really can do that 100%. But I feel like for me, university was great because the way we didn't just learn solely about animation, but we like learned a bit about all the different disciplines. And, so I have like a vague understanding of most things that go into the game. So it's like nice to be able to talk with other people because animators have to talk a lot. So like, you got to communicate with designers and characterizers and the riggers. And so it's kind of good to, I feel like, even if you are going to take one of those kind of online courses to like branch out a little, like not loads, just enough that you kind of know what you're talking about. And I think if you're in school right now, whether it's online or not, I think I always just have the really harsh approach of saying, find the best person in the class, be their best friend, and if however hard they're working, you should probably be working harder than that if you want to be successful, which is not true, but I used to like tell myself that like you're not going to get a job unless you're working at least as hard as the best person in the room. So, which is not true, but it's a good goal.
No, but that's a very good point, though. I mean, if you want to,
hard.
if you want to get into game development, your competition isn't the other students; it's the people who are already in game development, right?
Yeah. Definitely. And I feel like you need to be like on your game. Haha. Didn't even mean that like that. But I feel like there's so many people who are like, hey, games, that sounds fun. I'll try that out. And you got to go like above and beyond. You really got to break that barrier of being one of the most skilled people in that course or to really get the job you want. You probably can get a job, but can you get like in the job you want? I don't know. That's probably I always say that and everyone's like, whoa, at least that's not true. And I'm like, yeah, but for me, like I was like, you got to work hard, I think, if you want to be in games.
I would absolutely agree with that. Jarran,
Especially
what about you? Oh yeah.
Characters and all the rest of it.
Yeah. Jarran, what about you? Is there some piece of advice you'd offer students or people who just want to pursue their own path into game dev?
Even though, like you said, a lot more people are going to school for it, I don't think it's necessary. I think it was just I found it useful because I didn't really know what I wanted to. I thought I wanted to make games, but that was it. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and my course kind of touched on each discipline a little bit. It just gave you enough to know what you actually wanted to do, and then in later years you just did it. But that just helped me focus on what I wanted to do and kind of gave me reach attainable goals. While if I were studying by myself, I know for a fact I'd have just sacked it off. I'd have not done anything. So I guess there's merits to either side where if you are motivated and if you know exactly what you want to do and you've got the time and money and energy to put into it, then maybe you don't need to go for school for it. But I don't really know what my point is here. Both sides are good. Both sides are good.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think I'm probably the least formally educated person in this little Skype chat right now. I like for a good portion of my very younger life, I was homeschooled, which was not exactly a great experience and wasn't in any way formal. But on the bright side, it did give me a lot of free time to pursue all these different, areas of getting into game development, getting into character art. I would say, at least from my perspective, yeah, I would agree that working really hard is going to be one of the best ways to get into this field, no matter what part of the field you get into. I can certainly attest to how long and hard it was for me to get into this. So, yeah. Lots of hard work is probably the right path, no matter whether you're going to school or not.
Yeah.
Well, on that weird sort of note, let's do some D&D stuff. Let's get really nerdy with things. And let's talk about what kind of character you guys are going to be playing in this little one-shot game of D&D we're doing today. Chris, what about you? What kind of character are you playing today?
Well, Felix Moldbrew is returning to this Skype. Yeah, he is a dwarf barbarian, but he's not your typical barbarian. He's actually highly cultured and educated. He came from a dwarven clan that specialized in crafting brews and other concoctions from mold and fungi. And so he's absolutely obsessed. He's a scholar when it comes to mold and fungi, and he loves cataloging them. But he also has his own special little something that he made from a mold that can turn him into a murderous berserker. And he has spiked. He's actually the subclass where he's got the spiked armor, and he can use his armor as a weapon, basically. So yeah, right. He runs around with a Viking hat and a monocle on, and then when he goes into his rage, the monocle pops off and his face turns purple, and he goes crazy.
Well, that sounds awesome, and I'm very happy to see Mr. Moldbrew returning. It was a great time last time that he was on, and I'm sure it'll be great.
Very bad detective.
Yes, he was a terrible detective, but that's okay. It's D&D. You don't need to be very good to be a detective. Elyse, what about you? What kind of character are you playing today?
I really hope I didn't choose something that someone else has got, so we're good so far. But I chose the half-orc paladin.
Cool.
We're good. Yeah, okay, good. Who's called Resina Baronhide, and she's kind of badass. But she's a noble. She's dedicated to Paylor, obviously, and she's just kind of been told to go out in the world and help people, and I'll kind of let you know when I'm ready for you, sort of thing. So it's going to be fun.
Awesome. Well,
as far as I got.
Yeah, no, that's cool. You honestly, you don't need a hugely complicated backstory if you don't want one. Clearly, some people do want them, but that's okay. And Jarran, what about you? What kind of character are you playing today?
I'm going to be playing half elf ranger, same as last time. He has no name because I didn't think of one.
Well, I'll be using your name anyway, so don't worry too much about it.
He was is basically just lazy and sarcastic.
Well,
I'm giving this a lot of thought.
Yeah, I think that at least half of the D&D characters that I have played before probably match that same description. So
Yeah.
Don't worry too much about it. That would be Elise's
you need to
boyfriend.
Just get him in here and have a
he'll be our special unseen guest star, offering critiques from the sidelines.
It's just God talking or something.
Well, on that note, I think we should get started. But right before we do, there are a couple of pieces of advice. One is a recommendation, and one is a more or less a requirement. The requirement being, if you're going to do something, just do it in first person. It just makes things easier. Say, instead of, my character would like to, just say, I'm going to. So instead of Grubbleblip, the half-gnome bard, whatever, is going to pick his nose, I pick my nose. it just makes things a little easier, a little faster. We can get through things a little quicker, and it just feels a little more natural. And the recommendation that I have is, if your character would do something stupid in a given situation, that's probably the thing that you want to be doing, because honestly, it's always more fun that way. Now, you don't have to. It's just a recommendation, but in the off chance that you want to follow that advice, I guarantee you the results will be interesting. So, now, are you guys ready to dive into some D&D?
Yeah, let's nerd out.
All right.
What if I said no?
Then I would tell you to get out. You're fired.
He's the
No
DM,
more
you don't
for
have
you.
a choice in the matter.
Yes, I'm the
See you
DM,
now.
and you're gonna play D&D whether you like it or not.
Okay.
So, to start things off, let's talk about the Adventurers Guild. Now, the Adventurers Guild is large. It's one of the largest guilds out there. It is a multinational, multi-continental guild. It's rich. There is a chapter of the Adventurers Guild in almost every city out there. And people in the Adventurers Guild come in many different flavors, as you can see, but they also come in many different levels. And entry-level people in the Adventurers Guild tend to get the shit jobs. So, the king's outhouse is infested by shit monsters. That's probably a low-level Adventurers Guild initiates type of job. Protecting a caravan, probably also a low-level Adventurers Guild type of job. You guys, not very high up in the Adventurers Guild, so yeah, you're getting the shit jobs. It sucks. And the shit job is, of course, protecting a caravan. And you've been doing it for about 3 weeks now. The weather has been awful. It's been rainy. At one point, there was just sleet and slush all across the ground. Your clothes have been soaked for 5 out of the past 6 days, and it's just been awful. And working along the countryside with this ever shittier group of people in this caravan, you guys working as caravan guards, just protecting the entire caravan, more or less, sort of circling around it throughout the day, find yourselves approaching the small town of Wolfbridge. Wolfbridge is a small town right near a stream. It's not a big trade hub, but they do, they're essentially like sustenance farmers, but, they get a little bit of trade here and there. But it's generally just considered to be kind of a shitty spit in the road that nobody's really interested in. But they do have a nice inn. They have some nice small stores there that, if you wanted to pick up some little local items or accoutrement, you could. But really, it's just a stop in the road on your way back to the big city. And coming into Wolfbridge late in the day, it's probably approaching 5 or 6 p.m. The sun's starting to go down. It's getting a little chilly. The ground is muddy, and it's all just a little bit uncomfortable because you're all so damp. But coming into Wolfbridge, you pull up on your horses with the carriages and wagons, and you pull up to the inn, rope up your horses, and are helping some people to kind of unpack some of their goods and bring them inside so they don't soak overnight. And as you guys are sort of helping to, herd all these cats, essentially, you do notice that a guy in a long white apron is coming down the line of carts and wagons. You can hear him talking in the distance, and as he gets closer, you can hear that he's got a really... well, he seems really excited or worried or something, and as he gets closer, you can hear him talking to a few of the merchants in this caravan, going, "You got any flour? Anybody, please? Do you have any? Do you have any flour?" And as he gets closer to you guys, he sees you all standing there, kind of in a knot, helping move some crates and such, just under an awning so they don't get rained on. And he looks at all three of you. And he says, wait. Oh, you guys must be from the Adventurers Guild. You can help me. You can do it. Oh my God, I'm so glad that I ran into you. My name's Jimmy. And he like reaches out to shake all of your hands. And you can tell that he's got like a little bit of flour dusted on his hands. He looks like he's come straight from his bakery. What would you like to do?
I shake his hand immediately.
Oh, it's so good to meet you.
Sir! Yes, it's so good to meet you. What was your name?
I'm Jimmy. I'm Jimmy. I'm the baker here. And
You've
I
come
tell
to
you.
the right people. We will help anyone.
Oh,
Anywhere.
I'm
oh.
already walking away.
No, wait, sir, please. Oh God. Well,
I will walk up side along her and say, please, my good sir, calm down and tell us how we may help you today.
oh my God, it's terrible. Okay, so the mayor's daughter, okay, she's got this wedding happening in 2 days, and you know it's supposed to be this big to do. She's getting married to the son of the mayor from the next town over. It's gonna be this big thing all around town. Everybody's invited, and I'm the baker, and I'm making the cake, and there's no flour. I mean, I got some flour. I got like 2 cups of flour left, but I've been asking around the entire freaking town, and ain't nobody got no flour. I don't know what's going on. Nobody's seen the miller. That fucker, he's just nowhere. I mean, I checked at the bar. I checked at his house. I didn't check inside his mill because he usually keeps it locked because whatever. But yeah, he ain't nowhere. And honestly, it's kind of a problem having 2 cups of flour and an entire wedding cake along with all the other shit that I need to make. I mean, look, I don't know what you guys can do for me, but please, I know the Adventurers Guild's supposed to be like resourceful and stuff. Just help me. What can you help me? Please, I need help. I got nothing here.
Can you just make a small cake? And just cut your losses.
Well, yeah, I can make a small cake, but they also want
brilliant.
Problem solved.
We've got a cake.
They also
Well, we
want
should probably
cookies.
check on the mill now, just in case.
Sure. If you can find him, he ain't nowhere. I've been looking all over town. Nobody's seen him. I mean, if you can find him, great. But I don't know what to do.
Well, as luck would have it, my dear baker, we are laid over here while the caravan goes through. I, at least, volunteer my services until the caravan moves on.
He volunteered. You heard it? He volunteered. Are you going to volunteer too?
I've got nothing else to do.
I'm going to look at them with a judgmental eye, like you wouldn't dare say no, right?
I kind of look up to the sky for a minute, and I don't see any change, so I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, sounds like a good idea for now.
Yes, I don't gotta pay shit. Okay, yes, all right, cool. That's a verbal contract. You all heard it. And he turns around to all the people who are moving past with crates, and they're just like, oh yeah, whatever, sure. Okay.
And if there's flour to be found, we'll help.
Yes.
Now, my dear baker, does the miller have a family? Did you talk to them?
No, he's single. He ain't got nothing. He's a fat old drunk.
Maybe the bar is the first place we should start.
Yeah, you could try that, certainly. You don't think I've been there? You know what? I'm not going to question your methods. You're the adventurer people. You know what you're doing. I just don't, you know what? Just bring me flour and I'll be happy, all right?
Great.
All right. Okay, I'm going to go back to my bakery. But if you find some flour, please, it's just down the road over there. You could it's just right there, right there.
Maybe you should come with us. I mean, you've got all the local knowledge. Maybe you should come with us, and then you can make sure we places we've already gone.
No, I really couldn't.
You've done so much hard work.
I really couldn't. No, I just I'm so busy. I just gotta go.
You don't have any flour. What are you doing?
I'm sorry, I gotta go now. Bye.
Can I run up and block his path?
Tackle him.
Yeah, sure.
Well, before you leave, if you'd like your flour, you can at least tell us where the miller's house and where his mill are.
Oh, well, that's easy. Yeah, you just take that road right down over there. It's maybe like half a mile down the road, down by the stream. He's got one of them water wheels and stuff.
All right, very well. And I move aside.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. Yeah, and he and then he's kind of just bounces off to his little bakery where apparently he has about 2 cups worth of flour left and he's going to do something with it.
Yes, flour.
So, what do you guys
That
want
was
to do?
interesting.
I will follow your lead. I'm just here for the ride.
It has been a wearying journey, and the weather is foul. What say we stop by the tavern first?
I mean, I don't think my clothes have ever been this wet, like ever. I love Valor, and I don't know what he's doing right now because this doesn't feel particularly helpful. But I feel like there's a cause right now, and I feel like we can really help this guy out. I feel like we should just go to the mill and just see what's up.
I could go for a beer.
But we could get the beer afterwards. It's like a big
before
reward.
and afterwards.
Oh, okay. Well, just feel like this is kind of urgent.
I'm just going to wheel off on my heel and start towards the mill. Fine, let's get it over with.
Great.
Okay.
If you insist.
So walking down the road that he indicated, this sort of section of town, it's a very small town, so it's really kind of clustered around a crossroads. And walking down one of these roads, directly off to the south, it starts to get a little more wooded. Around the main area of town, it's mostly rolling hills, but heading south down the road, it's still quite muddy and a bit chilly, but it starts to get a little more wooded. There's, you enter a forest essentially, and the path starts to get a little narrower. It looks like it's only about wide enough for maybe a horse and cart type of situation, as opposed to being a big main road like you were on before. Until finally, it looks like it's sort of fallen into disrepair, and after maybe half an hour of walking along this road, seems a little farther than the half mile that he said it was, but you eventually do start to hear the sort of babbling of a stream in the distance.
I think we're getting close.
All right. So, what would you like to do in this circumstance? It is now definitely getting dark outside, and the things have gotten very quiet. There's a very slight breeze that's picked up.
How far away are we from the town?
After traveling for about an hour or so, you're probably at least like 2 miles away.
Oh, I thought like it was like next to the tavern.
Yeah,
I see.
So
I see.
yeah, it seems that this fast talking baker is probably he was probably exaggerating how close it was to town.
I think I have a light thing. Hang on a minute. I'll read. I think I have something.
I'm just keeping my eye out for baddies.
Okay.
In the trees.
Do a perception check for me.
I swear I
I'm
have
just
something.
thinking that we are definitely going to the tavern after all of this walking.
Sorry, perception. Where am
I swear I have a thing that lights up something.
11.
I'll find it.
Yeah, as you're walking along, just sort of generally keeping an ear out, you don't notice anything weird. You do occasionally notice like a squirrel running around, through the trees and stuff like that. But you don't notice any sort of any baddies, as you put it. You don't notice anything like that. You do hear the stream. It seems you're getting a lot closer to the stream, though. Is there anything else you guys want to do? As you're
Can I light
along?
up a torch?
Yeah, sure. So as you light up the torch, you can see that this area of forest it's starting to get a lot more thickly wooded, mostly with pine trees, though there are some other types of trees around. And walking for a few more minutes, you find yourselves coming to an area on the road where it kind of slopes down. And looking down, you can see that there's a very small wooden bridge over this stream. It looks like it's just barely wide enough to push a cart over. And off to your right-hand side, it looks like there is a small trail that kind of forks off and goes along the stream, going upstream.
I say, this miller did pick a most inconvenient location for a mill.
He did. He really did. It's quite far out. Sorry about that. But I'm sure it's all for a good cause. We need that cake for the wedding thing. How close are we to the thing?
Looking around, you can't actually see any buildings right now, but it is pretty dark out. there is certainly a trail that goes off along the side of the creek, but you can't see any buildings right now aside from this.
Are there
small
wagon
bridge.
tracks on the trail?
I guess that'd be a survival check.
Okay. 2.
You do see that the trail is kind of muddy, but there's also lots of sticks and stuff, and it's kind of dark out, so it's hard to tell exactly what type of tracks there might be.
Guess I'm just going to plod along the trail unless someone points out something.
Okay, cool. So taking off along that trail, do you guys want to follow him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Can I be passively looking out for stuff?
Yeah, sure. Do another perception check for me.
13.
Yeah, so as you kind of come up behind and you walk for a few minutes, you do notice that the sound of the stream, that sort of babbling, is sort of augmented by something else, a sort of rumbling, creaking sound, like a... And walking along, there's a sort of bend in the trail around a large tree, and coming around that tree, you can actually just see through some more of the underbrush and general cover of the forest that there is some sort of structure poking up out of the trees ahead.
Going the right way.
I believe we have found the mill.
All right.
Fantastic.
So walking along for a few more minutes, you guys come to a small clearing, and what you see as you reach this clearing, now illuminated by some faint moonlight as it comes down through the sort of dappled clouds, is that there are two buildings in this area. One of them appears to be a small house constructed mostly of wood, with sort of a stone base around the bottom that's sort of constructed out of stone and mortar and such. And then off directly next to the stream is a pretty tall 2-story building made mostly out of stone. A water wheel on the side, spinning as it is pushed by the stream, and you can hear that creaking sound and the sort of rumbling is definitely coming from the large stone mill house.
I assume that this would be the miller's house over here and the mill. Well, shall we check the mill first?
I feel like we should just go check and see if he's in.
Yeah. Well, didn't the guy say that he wasn't in his house, but he didn't check the mill for some?
To be
bizarre
fair,
reason?
this is a far distance, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was lazy enough to have never gone there in the
Yeah.
first place.
That makes sense.
That is a good possibility. And just go up to the door, I guess.
Okay.
So, you in there?
Sound effects.
Yeah, I dig it. You knock, and there's, you can hear it slightly echoing on the inside. You wait a second. You don't hear anything.
I just test and see if the door's locked.
It is not locked. It pushes open quite easily with a sort of creaking on the hinges.
Can I see anything like inside the...
Yeah, do a perception check. Do you want to actually go in, or do you just want to look in the door?
I was just going to look.
Okay.
I'm going to have battle axe in hand in
That a
case there's trouble.
D20.
Okay.
On D20.
Yeah, so a D20 and add your perception modifier.
I don't know if you can see that. That's a good start.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, you don't add anything, do you?
It's very dark inside this house. There's no real light coming in. It seems that all of the windows are shuttered.
Mm.
Can I just push past and just walk straight in?
Yeah, sure. As you walk in, you
Careful, friend.
you do notice that there's a small rug on the floor, which you almost trip over. You kind of catch your foot on it. It seems like it's kind of bunched up weirdly. And now coming in and looking around with your dark vision, you'd now be able to see and hear more clearly. You can see that this is indeed someone's small house, presumably the miller. It's a very simple sort of small building. There's a bed off to one side, a small kitchen area in sort of on the other half, and directly on the back wall there is a large fireplace with no fire burning in it currently. It looks like there are some old logs and ashes in it. There don't seem to be any sort of living occupants in here, but that's about all you see at first glance.
Can I just move the rug over a bit? Just move the.
Yeah, sure. So as you move the rug over, you do notice that there is a small trap door that's been. It looks like it's been recently.
I had
disturbed.
one just like this in my old bedroom.
Yeah, it looks like it has been recently disturbed.
Are you down there, buddy?
Trap
No
door in a
response.
house. He seems like he's got nothing to hide.
Weapons out, guys. Swing. Just like pull it out
I'm
the back.
I see what's going to happen here, and there's some shit's going to go down. So I just searched the guy's house for some alcohol before.
Okay,
I'm gonna throw the trap door open while he's at it.
Okay,
You can go first. You can go first.
Jarran, do an investigation check while they're getting their weapons and such out.
13.
Yeah, so you don't initially find anything. It looks like if there was any alcohol, it would probably be in a cupboard. And looking in one of the cupboards, you do find that there is indeed a selection of different alcohols. It looks like there are two types of ale, which are just in stoppered bottles, and then there is one that looks like it's something a little harder. It's got a wax seal at the top that's been broken, and then it's been recorked, it looks like. And most of it's gone. It's maybe about a third full. Uncorking it, you can smell that, yes, it's very alcoholic.
I just take them all. I'm just
right.
holding them and like going over. Do you want any of this? Look what I found. Look.
So yes, standing there with your weapons at the ready, he just kind of offers you some drinks.
Did you find some potions?
Yes.
Oh,
What-
great.
What are we now, robbers?
like
Put
alcohol.
the man's alcohol back until at
That
least
is a
we
good
verify
point.
that he is
Thought
deceased.
about that.
Oh
Ooh.
yeah, let's make sure that he's dead first before stealing from him. This is the totally honourable thing to do.
I agree with him.
Okay, I'll leave him for now.
Once we find his body in the cellar, then we can drink his booze.
All right.
Okay, I yank open the door.
Okay, so as you yank open this door, it creaks a bit, and you're instantly hit with this smell of rot. It smells
Oh,
like
no.
it smells like
Okay, let's
something.
drink the booze.
It smells like something died in there recently. And
I reach over and grab one of the jugs.
throwing back that door, you can see that the bottom of that trap door actually has lots of fairly fresh scratches in it. It looks like most of it had some like a coating of mildew and other stuff that would naturally occur on some damp wood. But there are these fresh scratches, multiple ones.
Woohoo! I
Basically, we've
smell
got an Evil
adventure,
Dead
and then I
situation
jump
going on
down.
here.
So jumping down into this hole, you find that you get maybe that far down, and it's like the floor is now at knee height for you, and your feet kind of like squish into something.
Is it flour?
It's not the body, is it?
Well, if you take a look down,
Look down.
yeah. So looking down at your feet, you realize, oh, I'm standing in a pile of something that looks kind of fleshy, but it's kind of like pinkish red, but not in a like. It doesn't look like flesh. Like it doesn't look like meat. It actually looks like almost like downy fur. With sort of a pinkish red skin and tinge to the fur.
Put my torch closer and just see what it is. Guys, got some weird stuff.
Yeah, so
I do not notice any of this because I'm too busy examining the mold and mildew on the bottom side of the trap door.
all right, we'll get to that in just a second. So as you bring your torch down to actually look at what's going on down there, you find that you're standing on something that looks. Actually, multiple somethings. It looks like there are 4 or 5 individual creatures of some sort, the size of maybe a large bat. and they do have sort of like leathery-looking wings. They're covered in a very light covering of pinkish fur. And lifting up one boot, you can see that it has a head that almost looks like a mosquito. It has a very long proboscis that's pointed at the end, almost as if a bat and a hummingbird had a baby. Its head kind of looks like that. It's a little bit disturbing, and it's got these big round eyes that are almost entirely pupil, but they do look the eyes look kind of mammal-like instead of being like insects. So it's this weird, almost hybrid of bat and mosquito or something along those lines.
That's horrifying.
Pick one up and I'm like, yeah, you guys know what this thing is?
I'm paying little to no attention. I'm just
All
drinking the booze.
Chris.
I'm saying, one moment here, I have something very important to attend to. And on the other side of the door, I got my monocle. And I'm
Guys, come on,
I get a
focus.
glass slide, scrape off a little bit of it. Need to examine it.
Just look further into the basement. Sorry.
Okay, Chris, do a nature check.
22.
You find that this is indeed some very common mildew. There are also some small splatters of mud and little bits of blood intermixed with it. You've seen a lot. It's kind of like a black mold almost. You've seen this a lot. It doesn't have any spectacularly special properties. It's just a fairly mundane type of mold.
All right, I'm going to head down the ladder because I bet the mold growing from the corpses will be much more exotic.
Well, there is actually no ladder. It appears that this thing that your friend jumped down into was actually just kind of a cubby space, probably meant for some sort of storage or something, though there's nothing aside from the bodies of the creatures now.
How deep is it again?
It only comes up to about knee height.
Okay.
On her half-orc form, so probably mid-thigh on you.
So
as a
I can't
dwarf.
even jump in there. She's taking up all the space.
Yeah, she's essentially taking up all the space.
Okay.
I mean, I can help you down if...
No, why don't you grab some of the muck and stuff down there, and I'll hand it up to me, and we'll dig it out. Maybe there's something else in there. Why would someone be storing sturge bodies in, underneath their floor?
Just like stab one of them and chuck it up.
Something like that, yeah. But there's
wall.
something underneath all this crap.
Let's hope it's not the guy. Dude. Just kind of keep looking. Is there anything else down here?
Do an investigation check.
Investigation. Don't be a one.
So can I go and stand in the doorway and just look out to make sure that...
Investigation.
Okay. Jarran, do a perception check.
Investigation.
I just don't want these guys to get jumped.
That's a 17.
So looking down into this hole, it looks like it was actually sort of dug in, and it's kind of a bowl shape directly beneath the floorboards. It appears that someone actually pounded through the sort of concrete and stone foundation to make a rough hole, which was probably meant to store maybe something illicit or something precious. You're not sure. There's nothing left down there now except for a little bit of damp earth and the bodies of these pinkish creatures. If there was anything of value down there, it's been removed.
Okay. I'm like, doesn't seem like he's down here, and I just head back up.
This is quite the mystery. Maybe we should go and check the mill.
I
Obviously,
agree.
something unusual is happening here.
All right, and Jarran, what was your perception?
I got 21.
21. You don't actually notice any sort of movement outside, aside from a little bit of, maybe small animals rustling in the bushes far away, and a slight breeze that's picked up. But you do hear, in addition to that sort of like, and the sort of grinding sound coming from the mill, you do hear a little bit of what sounds like small, almost like rats or something, moving over in that direction. Elyse, what did you want to do?
No, I was just wondering if there's another floor to the house we hadn't checked.
It is a single-story home.
Yeah, mill then. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys
I
go
have a
first. There's some nasty things in there.
I swear I have a thing
I'll
that
go
lights
first.
up.
All right.
There's an action. Oh, okay. Oh, it's 1 minute. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
Torch.
Yeah. All right. So with Chris leading the way, you guys move over to the mill, and walking over there, you don't really hear too much. It sounds like there might be some sort of rat infestation or something. It sounds basically like rats moving around. There's like that type of thing. But aside from that, you don't hear or see anything unusual.
I could check and see if there's anything really bad in there. Probably, if you guys want.
I'll barge in with you.
Sorry.
I'll barge in with you.
Yeah, I know, but I could just like do it like right here before we go. But like that's like step 2. Like that, I love the step 2. I love the plan. Great plan. Give me 1 sec. And then I just like go to the floor and I don't know, draw some runes, and then I think is it this one? Divine sense as an action. I can sense celestials, fiends, undead, consecrated, desecrated within 60 feet.
So stopping briefly to sort of kneel down and pray and focus on your senses of the divine or desecrated, you take a moment and sort of extend your consciousness out, as it were, and you don't detect anything.
Yeah, we're good. Feel free to bash down the door.
Well, I'll try and
Thank
open
you,
it
Pedal.
first, and then I'll bash it down.
Sounds good.
All right. So walking up to the door, you can see that it has a large double door, which looks like it's probably wide enough to get probably a horse and cart through. And trying the handles, it seems that the door is currently somehow locked, probably from the inside. It doesn't appear that there's a lock on the door, though.
All right, now we bash it down.
Is there a window that I could get in above us
Do a perception check.
before we barge down the door? Oh, a 10.
You can see that on one side of this building, this large stone building, there is a window up on the second floor, which looks out at the rest of this sort of small clearing that you guys are in. That's just on this side of the building. You can't see any of the others. You can see one corner of the building right now with the door you're at, and then the other one, which is essentially just a large wall with a window up on the side.
Do you need a boost?
Could I get in there? Is the second? That's too high, isn't it?
It looks like it's about 15 feet up, so it's probably pretty high up on the wall on the second floor.
You'll have to toss me.
You don't want to pick me up. I have spikes sticking out of my armor.
I was going to pick him up. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Huh.
What do you guys think? Just go through the door or do this sneaky approach?
I mean, we don't necessarily know anything bad's happened yet, so it's, I think diving through windows. Yeah, but maybe it's a good idea, Do what your heart says.
I say just barge down the door. It's not going to go well if I try to get through that window. Somebody's going to get hurt.
All right, I'm going to put a foot through the door, or try to.
Okay. So do a strength check.
Wow. Yeah, 6.
So as you just walk up to the door and try desperately to put a foot through, it seems that wherever you hit on the door, there was probably a large wooden support right behind it, and your foot hits it and then stops. It just stops, and you can feel that probably your heel is going to be a little bit sore in the morning as you're like
Are you right there?
Oh, that's smarted.
Yeah. Do you need some help with the door?
While I'm just lean over and grab my foot, I'm just gonna gesture, like as in be my guest.
Okay, I'm going. Poof.
All right, do a strength check.
Okay.
Maybe the window wasn't a bad idea.
Yeah. Thanks. Ooh, 12.
So as you go and try to hit more or less the same spot that he just did, you can hear that the board on this side of the door actually cracks just a tiny bit inwards, but the door itself seems to be pretty solid. And as you do this, you hear you hear some sort of commotion or something from the inside, almost like there's suddenly a lot of like a flurry of movement, and there's a sort of
Quickly,
sound
both
coming
shoulders
from
to
the
the door
inside.
at the same time.
Let's do it. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So who is leading the charge with this one?
I thought we
I'll
were
let
going to
her
both
do it.
do it. Oh, okay.
Well, because one person.
You could do like the lower
Yeah.
half of the door, and I'll do like the upper half of the door.
Okay, you know what?
Can-
How about this? Both of you do strength checks with advantage since you're helping each other. That sound good?
21.
21.
Oh, not that good. 11.
11. So as you just both simultaneously run at the door, something about these spikes all over your armor just crashes
You just
through.
create like a dwarf shaped
Yeah,
hole.
it's almost like that. Yeah, one of these spikes on your shoulder pad actually just crashes through and leaves this big gaping hole where your shoulder just like goes in, and the entire door kind of shudders inwards. You can actually hear that as you've hit it, some stuff has fallen away from the door. You can hear stuff scraping against the backside. You can hear the sort of pounding of something as things hit the floor. Multiple items sort of tip over on the inside. It seems that this door was not just barred but barricaded from the inside. And as this happens, you can see that the doors are now, it looks like they could be pushed inwards at least a couple of feet.
I recommend one of us take each door and just push.
What? Wait, are you in?
He's not currently in. His shoulder did go through, and he was able to kind of like push the door in a bit, but he's not fully inside. And there is a lot of noise coming from inside this mill building now.
I'm going to stand at the back with my bow ready, just in case.
Okay.
Same again?
All right. And sorry.
No, nope, nothing.
Oh, okay. Chris, is there something you wanted to do?
I'm just gonna I'm just gonna put my hands to it and just shove the door open now that it seems like it's giving.
Okay. Do one more strength check for me.
Yeah, I'm going to have my maul ready.
15.
All right. So as you go and you start pushing and pushing on this door, it seems like there's still a bunch of crap piled behind it, but it does kind of give way slowly. You can hear things kind of scraping along the wood of the floor, and from it sounds like up above inside this building, there is a sort of and as
Maybe it's one of those bats.
as you finally shove the door open, there's not just this, not just the creaking of boards and other things that have been stacked aside, and not just the sounds coming from up above and inside, but there's also you can feel now rushing past you. And brushing against your face, occasionally smacking against your armor. It almost looks like a flock of sort of reddish, pinkish birds or bats as they start to flutter out of the doorway, which you've just opened, swirling around all of you now, screeching and shrieking, clicking. And as this happens, you realize that the entire mill is full of those creatures that you found inside the trap door inside the house, and they start to try and latch onto you, grabbing onto bits of your armor, scratching at your exposed faces. And with that, we're gonna take a quick break. And we're back. We're back here with Chris, Elyse, and Jarran. They've just discovered that the miller, who is apparently missing, has had a problem with some manner of infestation in his mill. But before we get back to that, let's have a little bit more discussion. And so I've noticed that during, say, game development people meetups, whether it's a party at GDC or just a bunch of people getting together because there was an event on Facebook, going to the bar or something. I have noticed that a lot of people who are trying to get into game development, well, let's just say that there is a problem with maybe knowing boundaries in a lot of situations. So what are some suggestions that you guys would have for people who are trying to get into the game industry on, approaching people who are already in the game industry and, not just approaching them, but, talking to them during these types of events or just talking to people online? What are some suggestions that you guys have for those people who want to get in but don't know how and are just desperately trying to connect with people who are actually in the industry? I can start if you guys want to think about it for a second. I would suggest, especially during events like GDC, that you don't do what I did the first time I went to GDC, which was to have a stack of business cards in one hand and always be handing people my business card as soon as I meet them, no matter who they are.
So much junk mail.
Yeah. It's essentially like receiving spam, right? Going up to somebody and introducing yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. But going up to somebody, just some random person, essentially, who you've never met before, it's probably not a good idea to just immediately hand them your business card and be like, I do this and I'm desperate for any sort of attention. And I've seen that a lot. I know that I've done it myself in the past, and I'm horribly embarrassed about that fact. But that would be my suggestion: is instead of trying to just immediately hand over your business cards during these types of events or whenever you're trying to meet people in the industry, instead just try to get to know them and talk about your common interests. Say, yeah, I'm a character artist. I'm a designer. I'm a programmer. This is what I'm interested in doing. Blah blah blah, and the conversation, because you automatically have built-in sort of common interests, the conversation usually flows pretty well. So what about you guys? Are there things that you've run into in meeting, maybe other students or something when you were in school, where you were like, maybe don't do that. Maybe do this instead?
I'm going to build off of what you said, actually, because it was kind of what I was going to say is don't start off with business career stuff right away. Doing something you have a common interest in, I think, is a great way to, establish a good relationship with someone, even if it's just like a one meeting relationship. As an example, at GDC on the Sunday before, they do a board game night. Someone hosts it. They usually have it at a restaurant or a bar, sometimes at a studio. But it's a lot of fun. You just get to meet people while playing, board games and eating some snacks with them. And I think it's a way better way to meet people that way, doing something else, some sort of common activity together, and then you can get into the business and the career stuff, after you've established that, you're an okay person.
Elyse, Jarran, are there any things that just kind of spring to mind as things that people not in the industry might do in circumstances like that you would kind of advise against, or maybe advise them to try something different?
After you.
Well, I just think I've done this myself. Just don't go into a conversation thinking that you're there to impress someone. Just have a conversation. I guess that's a lot easier if it's a meetup at a bar or something. But don't go thinking I'm talking to an industry professional. Think I'm going and I'm talking to this dude.
It's like dating. Just be yourself.
It's not like dating. Don't do that.
Well, I think a lot of these things also apply to
that was a bad example.
No.
I meant in terms of like being yourself. Don't try to be someone
Hey,
else.
look at damn sexy guy. You want to see my portfolio?
Oh boy. But I think a lot of this stuff also applies to like online interactions, right? Because, if you're, say, talking to somebody on Twitter, you don't want to come across as being like this weirdo who's like, oh yeah, I stalk you on Twitter. You just want to be like, hey, I follow your stuff on Twitter. It's kind of cool. Or, just through Twitter saying like, hey, your stuff is neat, is a lot less creepy or weird than sending somebody a private message and being like, hey, I really like your stuff. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Is there something that kind of strikes you as like an online behavior that you see a lot of people doing where you're like, hey, maybe that's not super useful, or maybe it's not, maybe you want to avoid that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've had that maybe as much as you guys, just because I've only been in the industry like 3 years. So I haven't had like, oh, I'm just like chilling on my own at the pub or something, and then some random person's like, hey, help me out, good to, but whenever I've been at one of those events, I'm normally on one of the like help newcomers out type stands where it's like specifically designed for people coming and asking questions. And I feel like most of the time, like, I'm really cautious to say anything, because it's like 9 times out of 10, it's better to be like encouraging, because I feel like certain people will not come and ask questions because they're too shy, or they won't show their own work because they're too shy, more so than you get like the 1 or 2 people that make it difficult. I would say that I don't know if it's like more of a female in games thing, but I have like certain people on Twitter that they'll like follow me, and then I'll just get like retweet, like message, and it's just like all in like just being like super clingy, that it's like, hey, let's chat, and then I'm gonna go over here now, and they're like, oh, don't leave, I have 18 more questions, and it's like, well. But I think most of the time everyone's really friendly. I haven't had any like big problems with it. It's more like just social awkwardness in general. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Rule number 1.
Yeah, I keep hearing that phrase, and I keep repeating that phrase to myself as well. The general "don't be a dick" seems to be the most wide-ranging
rule of thumb
advice that I've heard out there.
Yeah, I would say that every now and again I'll have something. It's like, for example, I don't know how to say this, but let's say, in like interview processes and stuff, just don't be like derogatory towards yourself. Like, I think it's a lot of like newcomers' attitude to be like, oh, I know this is bad, and oh, this is not great, and it's like, we know, like, you don't have to say, and if you say it, it just makes you sound like insecure, and like you should be proud of whatever you've come up with, and just like don't feel bad because you're not at the stage someone else is at. It's better to see what they think needs working on than for you to tell them. You'll get a lot more out of that. And don't complain about past employers or lecturers. That is not a good plan if you're trying to get hired. It's not sending good vibes.
Just general trash talking in general.
Yeah.
Your way.
Yeah. I think that kind of falls under the "don't be a dick" tag, right? I know that I've done my share of that in the past, but usually I try to restrict it to people that I know who probably know a little bit of my past, and are. I'm not in an interview with them or something, but even in interviews, I've been in interviews where past employers have brought up, and people have worked there who I've interviewed with and stuff, and I might make an offhand comment about how it wasn't really my place, it wasn't really what I was interested in doing, or I just didn't like the company culture or something like that. But usually that's about as far as you want to get with that type of thing, right?
Yeah. And you also get very different company cultures as well. Sorry. It's like, a lot of times at interview, it's not, necessarily, are you good enough? Because if you got to an interview, you're probably good enough. It's like, are you going to fit in with a team? Because games companies, it's so much more important you get on with everyone. It might just be that in this particular studio, in this particular role, this person was best suited, and you'll just get like different things for different.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Yeah. Because
and it's not necessarily like a problem with you that you have to fix. It's just like, well, unless you're being a dick, and then you can fix that. But like, just generally, it might just be like, oh, the studio is more outgoing, or they're more sociable, or maybe they're more like, hey, just get on with it, and you get all these different.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I actually read an article recently from someone who was in a management position, and they said that one of the ways that they try to encourage or discourage behavior that doesn't really fit in with the company culture is just saying, we don't do that here, or we do that here, as opposed to, calling somebody out on their behavior in whatever way that might, lead to some sort of conflict. Just say, that's something we don't do here, so just don't do it here. And the more I think about that, the more I realize, sure, you can say don't be a dick, but maybe don't be a dick in certain situations means different things. So I think that, getting back to the social awkwardness and like being able to read social situations also comes in handy. During those
definitely.
times. Well, is there anything else that you guys wanted to add to this sort of discussion about like, how you might behave in like a game dev meetup situation, or when talking to recruiters or anything like that, talking to people online?
Definitely the business card thing is like, oh man, yeah, like you have to have like a good rapport before you're like, hey, here's a business. I don't think I've ever used a business card. I'm just like, oh, hey, that's that guy. I'll just go find him.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's good to have a business card, but have it for if someone asks for it, not just be like, hey, here's my thing, because like it's good that way because you're like, oh, look, I'm not unprofessional. I have one.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be like that person that's writing on a scrap piece of paper or whatever. Like that's bad. But it's like, I feel like if you have to go and push it onto people, it's just gonna end up in the bin.
Yeah, I've definitely found it like GDC. I'll get handed like a dozen business cards throughout the entire thing.
Oh, that's nice.
I've never actually used any of them before.
Yeah.
Well,
this year I'm not going to say hello. I'm just going to walk up and shove one in.
Well, we'll see if I'm even going to GDC this year. I'm not currently planning on it, but I might like maybe go for one day if it ends up being feasible. But I don't know. Honestly, there are so many deadlines coming up. Ugh. Well, anyway, on that note, you guys want to get back to playing a little bit of D&D, doing something even nerdier than talking about game development?
Yeah.
Somehow.
All right.
Somehow.
Well then, in that case, you guys had just bashed in. Well, actually, Chris specifically had almost like put a dwarf-shaped hole in this door leading into a mill, and as the door opened, there was this the flapping and fluttering of these dozens of leathery wings and flying out the door, screeching and clicking and gnashing their creepy little teeth, and they're making horrible sucking sounds with their proboscis. Whatever.
They have those and teeth at the same time.
Yeah.
What are those?
Yeah, they have this like it's a really
like
weird
a nose?
situation. It's almost like a nose. Yeah.
Oh.
It's kind of gross. And they these horrible flapping bat-like, bird-like, creepy flying rat things with proboscises and teeth and all sorts of claws and other things just start flying and fluttering around. I need everybody to do a dexterity saving throw.
9.
All right.
4.
4. Oh wait,
Wow.
saving.
Yes, a saving throw.
Yeah, no, it's still 4.
Okay.
Let's start a circus acrobatic team.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be great. So flying out of the doorway, you guys are almost instantly enveloped by all of these bat-like creatures that flutter around you and start trying to latch onto your bodies. After a few moments of swatting at them, you find that some of them have latched onto your chests, your legs, your back. One of them actually tries to latch onto one of your faces, but you manage to tear it away, leaving scratches on your face. And with that, I need everybody to roll initiative.
Oh shit.
18.
Ooh, all right.
Do you add anything to initiative again? Is it your dex?
Dexterity.
Yeah, it should be your dexterity modifier, and then you might have something to add on top of that.
Sorry. Yeah.
Your initiative will be right up there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I forgot.
All right, so
That's,
15. 15. All righty.
Yeah.
Cool. And Jarran, that was 10, you said?
10.
All right. And let me just roll for them. Oh my goodness. 1 moment. I've forgotten my dice. So, unforgivable sin aside, I'm gonna just roll initiative for those guys. Ooh.
Oh dear.
Let's see here. That's gonna be yes. Alrighty. It's gonna be a 21. Yeah. All right. So, that's going to bring it to the Sturges, and as they have flapped out of this the doorway from the mill building, they're all going to try to latch onto you. It appears that there are over a dozen of them, and they've all just flown out. And let's see on so. Chris, there are going to be 4 Sturges attached to your body on various locations. One is actually like on your chest. You got 2 on your legs, and it seems like 1 is probably on your back.
I have an itch right back there. Can you get it for me?
Well, he is like latching on and trying to stab through your armor with his creepy little proboscis. You can hear his like it's almost like a nose. He's got little teeth chattering back there and stuff. It's gross.
That's lovely.
Yeah, Elyse, you've got one of them also like almost on your shoulder. It's like just kind of cresting over. It's on your back, and it's just like hooked on, and you can hear it squeaking just in your ear. Jarran, you've also got 4 latched onto your body as you're batting away at these other ones that are flying around you. One of them has like latched itself onto your forearm, and the others are kind of like all up and down your back. So on their turn, the Sturges are going to try to hit you guys, or try to sort of suck the blood out of you guys, trying to get through your armor. Let me see here. That's going to be.
Why didn't we go through the window?
You'd be on your own with a bunch of bats in the window.
I'm also
like,
curious as to why this was barricaded from the inside.
Yeah, he's going to be dead.
He's
All
definitely dead.
All right.
So with you flailing
found
around, with all of you guys flailing around, they're going to try to hit this turn. Though, if they remain affixed to you on subsequent turns, they won't have to try to roll to hit, because they'll be fully latched on. That one definitely misses. Yeah, these things are not very very good at hitting stuff. But let's see here. That's going to be a one of the ones on you, Chris. The one on your back. It feels like it's been like crawling up, and it's going to try to get you right in the neck. Does a 20 hit?
Yeah, I would say a 20 hits.
All right, cool. So that is going to be 4 plus 3. That is going to be 6 piercing damage as it just jabs its proboscis between plates of armor and into your neck. You can feel it pushing in through the skin. It's just horribly disturbing. At least the Sturge that's on your shoulder is going to roll a 9. Does that hit?
Oh, no.
Awesome.
Is it armor class?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, just because you're flailing around, it's still trying to hit you, but yeah, it hasn't hit you yet. And finally, Jarran, that's it's a 17. It's 24 to hit. I'm assuming that probably hits.
Yeah, that definitely hits.
A natural 20.
Oh, great.
That's going to be a. I can't math right now. It's the 13 to hit.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Hits.
And another 25. All right. Well, all 4 are going to start to kind of like latch on even harder and just like poke their proboscises in through your armor, in through the chinks, and piercing through some of the cloth. The first one is going to do that's 7 piercing damage. That's going to be the natural 20. So that's going to be doubled. So that's going to be 10 piercing damage. Another 7 and 6.
Oh, this is not a good situation to be in.
All right. And then the others are just going to continue flying around, swarming around you guys, but that's about all they're going to be able to do on this turn. So from there, Chris, what are you going to do?
All right. For my bonus action, I'm going to go into a rage. As its proboscis starts going in, my monocle pops off. His face starts to turn purple, and I just go, shit, piss, fuck. Little goes flying, and now I'm in a rage. Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to. So with one of my actions, I've got 2 attack actions. Mm-hmm. With one of them, I'm going to attempt to grapple the one on my back. Basically, I'm going to try and grab it.
All right, cool. So yeah, do just a general attack roll.
Okay.
And add, add your dexterity. This is going to be more just about like actually trying to grab something as opposed to
15.
Yeah, that'll definitely get it. So you grab it, and you start to pull on it.
Actually, if with my Battle Rager armor, when it's part of my subclass, when I successfully grapple it, it takes 3 piercing damage.
Oh, so yeah, as you go to grab it, you actually kind of like slap onto it, and it gets pushed down onto one of the spikes, and the spike kind of like just pierces through it, and you can feel it just stops moving.
Yeah, all right. And then with my other free hand, I'm going to make a battle axe attack against one of the ones that's attacking me.
Okay, so you just kind of like try to scrape it off.
Basically.
Do a normal attack roll.
Yeah, that was terrible. That is a 11.
Yeah, an 11 just misses. It kind of like you actually kind of like hit one of the spikes on your armor, and it kind of glances off just as it's about to hit this guy. All right, is there anything else you want to do on your turn?
I think I'm done.
You guys are currently you're currently in a large swarm that's swirling around you right outside the door. So you could try to move out if you wanted to.
I'm gonna stay put because I got a feeling that they can move faster than me, anyways. So
all right, cool. So then that's gonna bring it to Elyse. What are you doing?
I'm gonna be like and then I'm gonna be like, okay, think, and then I'm gonna grab my blade, not my blade, my mace, and I'm gonna say, Pelor, bring light to the darkness, and I'm gonna go whoom, and then the blade's gonna light up, and I'm gonna cast Sacred Weapon.
All right, go for it.
I think so. Is it? I think it just happens.
Yeah, I believe so.
And it emits light for a 20-foot radius, and I get to add my charisma modifier.
All right.
I'm not sure if that's all I can do.
1 second. Let me. Been a while since I played a paladin, so I just need to
I haven't, so this is all new.
Just make sure I know what's going on. So you said Sacred Weapon?
Yeah. I think it's Channel Divinity Sacred Weapon, if that helps.
Yeah, let's see.
There's Player's Handbook 86. Yeah. No, it's not, sorry. No, it is 86.
Okay, Sacred. Help if I could actually read right now. There we go. As an action, you imbue the weapon you're holding. For 1 minute, you add your charisma modifier to attack rolls. Okay, cool. So, you to attack with it, you would roll a normal attack, and then you'd be able to add your charisma modifier to that attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So because I get 2 attacks per action, is that one, and then I get another one, or is that just? That's it. That's all I can do.
If you have, if you were able to do a second attack, so that would be one of your actions that you just did, and then you'd have a normal attack action that you could do.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just squish the one on my back with no mace then.
Yeah. So do an attack roll.
Okay. But that was weird. Oh, I didn't realize it's size when I roll a natural 1. That didn't work.
Yeah, so as you go to swing, it actually kind of like bonks you in the head, and you're like, jeez, crap, But not damaged, but just like, it's so frazzled by all these things that are flying around you that it's just like impossible to not get a little frazzled. But that's gonna bring it to Jarran. What are you doing?
Okay, well, I'm fucked. So I'm gonna go out in style because they're gonna kill me next turn. Knock me down. So I'm gonna cast Hail of Thorns on myself.
All right.
I'm gonna shoot an arrow straight upwards.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Seppuku.
All right, go. Yeah, that sounds awesome. So, I would say you know where you're trying to hit on yourself, and you'd be able to kind of direct yourself. So, do this attack roll with advantage.
Okay. Ooh. Let me. Do I add my weapon?
Oh, yeah. So you would
is that
roll a
yes.
d20, and it should be a plus like a +6, I think, to hit, because you have it's your dexterity plus your proficiency.
+5.
+5. Okay.
So that was a well, 20, 21, or 21, 22.
Okay,
If I'm
yeah.
looking in the right place.
Yeah. So so I mean, I'm pretty sure that a 21 or 22 will hit your armor class, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah. That's so for Hail of Thorns. What exactly does that say again?
It's all within 5 feet of the target.
that-
Take 1d10 plus 1d10 basic
All
damage.
right. All right. Well, cool. Jeez. Wow, I've never seen anything like that before, but that's awesome. He takes 1d10 piercing.
I only wanted a drink.
This is all your fault.
All right.
I was stood at the back chilling. I didn't
Yeah.
expect this shit.
Yeah. All right. And you know what? Let's make a dexterity saving throw. You're gonna just choose to fail that. I would say that both of you are within 5 feet of him because you were all kind of standing at the door. So both of you make a dexterity saving throw.
You deserve this.
And
deserve
you know what?
Every bit of it.
Yeah,
I'll
just-
take
yeah.
you all down with me.
Just a heads up. I have a advantage on this from Barbarian Danger Sense,
All right. Cool.
13.
All right.
which I think I'm going to need. Nope, I failed it for sure.
Okay. Jarran, what is your spellcasting save DC? That'll be at the top of your spell sheet.
It says 13.
All right. So
Does that mean I'm good or not good?
yeah, if you rolled a 13, you're good.
Yeah.
Chris, what was your roll?
8.
Yeah, so you are going to take the full brunt of that damage. So Jarran, roll damage for it.
Um,
So I believe that
2d10.
yeah, I
is,
believe that's going to be 2d10 damage.
What
yes,
kind of damage
that
is it?
piercing.
Okay.
10 damage.
All
2
right.
8.
All right.
While I'm
so-
raging, I have resistance, so I take 5.
All right, cool. And as this happens, the sturges that are covering your body, and actually, let me see here. It's going to be. All right, yeah, they are all screwed. Just every single one of them. They're not really good at this type of thing. So these thorny bits of arrow that have sort of exploded outward and come raining down on all of you. They take out a good portion of these flying pink and red monstrosities that are flying around you. Most of them actually just get pierced. And some of them actually stick to your bodies as they die with these thorny bits of wood. And you see that several of them have been knocked out of the sky and are now just like pinned to the ground around you. There are still about half a dozen flying around, but they seem to be kind of like shocked and frenzied now. And Jarran, what are you at?
I'm at -4.
Okay. Well, that's going to bring it back to the top of the round then. And so the remaining sturges are going to, let's see what, let me see here. So we've got, okay. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so the remaining sturges, all 6 of them, are going to try to latch onto your bodies. So let's see. That's going to be that one definitely misses, and so does that one, and that one. That one is a natural 20, okay. And then that's going to be All right. So, Elyse, one of the Sturges, as you guys are both batting them away pretty successfully now that you are like a little more prepared, one of them does actually latch onto your body, and it's going to do. Let's see here. That's going to be 8 piercing damage as it lands and latches onto you.
Who is this again?
It's
Me.
onto Elyse. It latches onto your back on the opposite side of where the one before was, and it does the same sort of weird chittering sort of sound. It's really creepy as it lands and like latches onto you. All right, Chris, you are up. What are you doing?
All right. So I'm going to. Can I use an interaction to like drop my battle axe and get a hand axe? I feel like that'll be better for scraping them off me.
Yeah. So drawing your weapon is going to be
Would that be an action?
Well, it's a. I believe that'd be a bonus action.
It's a. I would.
Wait,
well,
no,
if it's going to be a bonus
drawing
action,
let me see here.
I think that's an interaction.
Trying to remember, because I know that technically drawing a sword or something is a free action, but you're also like dropping something and then going to. So I'd say we'll call it that's your bonus action. So you'd still have
if it's going to be a bonus action, I just won't do it because with my bonus action I can attack with my spikes. So I was going to heal more shit.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that would probably be. It's like it's not the extent of a full action, but it's also a little more than what a free action would be. So it's kind of in that weird loosey goosey gray area.
Then I will attack one of them with my battle axe. Then one of the ones that's still trying to eat me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, because they actually took the full damage as well from that hail of thorns.
Oh, so I don't have any left on me.
Yeah, they've actually just been like pierced. There are still some that are stuck to you because of that hail of thorns, but they're just like hanging limp and dead. So now it's there are 5 flying and circling around the 2 of you.
Are they within reach?
Yeah, they'd be within reach. They're like actively trying to get on you. So. Yeah,
I'm going to try and divide one of them into multiple parts then.
Okay, go for it.
And I get a 13.
13 just misses.
Yeah. All right, I'll roll again with my second attack.
Alrighty.
Whoops. Oh my gosh. No, that would be a 12.
Yeah, that misses as well, unfortunately. These things are kind of slippery as they're flying through the air around you.
All right, then for my bonus action, I'll attack with my spiked armor. It's a melee weapon attack.
All right, cool. Go for it.
Whoa, a crit.
All right. Yeah, so you just like bat one of them out of the air.
Do I need to roll for damage or is it dead?
Honestly, even if you rolled the absolute minimum, it would still be doubled. So they have 2 hit points each. So they're super screwed.
After my strength modifiers, it'd be dead. Okay.
Oh yeah, exactly. So you actually hit it with your spiked gauntlet, just like whack, kind of with a backhand, and a bit of it sticks on there, but the rest of it just almost like explodes in this kind of reddish mist. It's real gross. All right. Elyse, what are you doing? There is currently one attached to you, and then there are 4 remaining that are just kind of like flapping around.
But he's like down, right?
He is down, yes.
Yeah. So how far away from him?
He's within like 5 or so feet. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you could just kind of.
I guess I'll like hear him fall back, and I'll be like, "Oh shit!" And then I'll like run over and be like, "Oh no, you don't, buddy! You're buying the first round. Come on, Pelor!" And then I just like fucking heal him up a bit, so I give you 20 hit points.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are now conscious again. You have 20 hit points, and you're still prone, but you can use your half your movement on your turn to get up.
And you just see like my glowing face, and I'm just like, not today.
And I just give you all the middle. This is your fucking fault.
Well, that's lovely. Okay, so thanks I get, and then I'm gonna whack another one off him because he's still got a couple, right or not?
No, they they took the damage as well. So there's the 4
I'll
flying
hit
around,
one of the ones.
and there's the one that's on your shoulder that's trying
Get
to
the one
just like
back.
get you. All right.
Oh.
So do an attack roll.
That's not great. I think it's gonna miss. Oh, yeah, it's gonna miss as a 12.
Yeah, that does miss, unfortunately. Just kind of like clangs against your shoulder, and you're like, ah, damn it. Ah, ah. And not managing to actually be able to get this thing. But that's going to bring it to Jarran. What are you doing?
I'm tired of this shit. I'm going in. I'm going into the mill. Okay. And I'm just gonna take a pot shot at, just roughly aim in the area of the sturges and fire.
Okay. So you want to like get in the door and turn around and shoot outwards, is what you said.
Yeah, but really lazily. I'm not putting much motivation into this. I don't care about this mission. I've had enough.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, you step in and take a shot. Do an attack roll.
Oh, accidentally rolled 0d20 and was confused why I got a 0. 11.
Yeah, unfortunately, as these things are flapping around, your arrow just kind of like sails between 2 of them as they fly around. They're pretty hard to hit because they're flapping around in the air so much.
I've done my piece.
All right. Then at the start of this next round, Elyse immediately it is going to do. It's going to stick its proboscis into your neck, and it's going to do 7 damage as it starts to suck blood from your arteries. You can actually feel this weird sucking sound in your neck, and it's just like, oh god, it's so disturbing. Meanwhile, the 4 that are left are going to one is going to attack you, one is going to try to get on you again. The other is going to go for Chris, and so 2 of them are each going to try to get on both of you. So that's going to be the first one. We'll do Chris's first. So that's a natural 1. It just kind of like bounces off your armor. That one is going to be a 21 to hit.
Yeah, it hits.
All right. So it kind of like grabs on. This one is going to be 8. Does a 15 hit you, Elyse?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No.
All right, that one kind of it actually hits the same one that's on your back and like bounces off it and like
and starts sucking the other one.
Yeah, you can hear some like screeching and chittering behind you, and it's a little uncomfortable. And finally, that one is going to be a 7 to hit, which doesn't hit. Well, an 8 to hit. Sorry, but still an 8. Yeah. So let's see here, Chris, the one that hit you is going to try and latch on, and that's going to be 5 piercing damage as it just like latches on to your body.
Okay, it'll be halved to 2 since I'm raging.
All right, cool. And that's going to be their entire turn. So that's going to bring it to Chris. You're up.
Okay, I'm going to make a spike attack against the one that's latched onto me.
All right, go for it.
So melee attack. And that was terrible. That was a that was an 8.
Well.
Oh man, yeah. You managed to just like you're trying to like shake your leg at it and stuff, but it's just like it's kind of like skittering around on the other leg. It's almost crawling around like a spider.
With one of my attack actions, I'll try and grapple it.
Okay, go for it.
That is much better. 18.
Oh yeah, you just like grab onto this thing. You're able to just kind of like grab its head.
All right, cool. With my armor, it automatically takes 3 damage.
Okay, so that. as you grab onto it, the small spikes that are kind of built into your gloves for good grip and attacking just pierce its head as you grab onto it, and it just goes limp in your grasp, and you're just able to like kind of cast it off.
And if there's another one in reach, I'll just attack it with a battle axe.
Yeah, there are still 2 flying around.
Okay, I'll try and hit one of them.
All right, go for it.
Crit.
All right, yeah. So you just take a swing with your battle axe and just cleave it in 2, and there's this streak following your axe, almost like a streak of motion blur, but it's just red, and it goes straight through the air, and the two pieces fly in different directions. All right, then that's going to bring it to Elyse. What are you doing?
I just realized I've been adding the whole wrong modifier this whole time, so I should have been hitting. Whoops. Okay, I'm gonna try and hit the guy on the back again.
Okay, go for it.
20, which is a 17.
That will hit.
Yes. So that's 2d6 plus 4.
You don't even need to roll damage at this point. If it's gonna be anything above 2 points, it will die very quickly and very spectacularly. Yeah.
Okay, and then I get one more attack. So there's no more.
There is one left that is still flying around, and it seems like it's just panicking.
Yeah, I'll just get him.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, that'll hit. It's like 14 plus 7. So.
Yeah, that definitely hits. So as you go to whack at this last one, you actually hit it almost like hitting with a cricket bat, as something's just like flying through the air, kind of Shaun of the Dead style. It just like goes, it's just like, and you can actually you can feel it just kind of like breaking as you're going through it, and then it goes spiraling through the air off into the grass.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are you guys doing?
Oof, that was nasty.
I'm looking back and I'm just shaking my head.
You okay there, buddy? You doing all right?
I knew this would happen.
Well, don't worry. We'll get you beer real soon. We just need to go check out the rest of the mill, okay?
I turn around and my purple face is gone, and I'm back to my calm self. I wipe the spittle from my beard, polish my monocle, and put it back on. Well, that was certainly unexpected, as I'm like trying to clean off like the proboscis and guts and whatever that are stuck to me.
Yeah, I'm just like.
Yeah. It's kind of gross. It's like killing giant mosquitoes that kind of pop when you kill them. Ugh. So what are you guys doing? What do you want to do from here? You're currently standing at the doorway to this mill, which is currently ajar, and Jarran is kind of standing in the doorway.
I don't have much hope for the milliner at this point.
No, definitely not.
But we should go check it out.
We're going to find a desiccated husk in there.
Yeah, let's just look for a corpse.
Yeah, come on, let's go have a look. Just in case, I got to you. I don't know what your character's name is. What are your character's names? Your doctor
Felix.
or something? Felix and...
Oh, I don't have one.
Mr. No Name. I'm going to cast...
This man has no name.
I think I have Sanctuary.
Oh, yeah. A man has no name. That's it.
I'm going to cast Sanctuary on you. So if anyone wants to attack you, they've got to make a save.
Oh, cool.
All right.
That would have been useful earlier.
I was trying, but,
Oh, so snarky. So snarky.
Next time, buddy, next time.
I'll let you off.
Plenty of more adventures to be had.
You did stop me from dying.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, so you guys going into the mill?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I go in stealth just in case?
Yeah, sure. Do a stealth check.
20.
Yep. You managed to step very carefully over the things that were used to bar the door. It looks like there's at least one chair in there. There are several boards against one door. It looks like one of the spare millstones. It's this large slab of granite, almost shaped like a donut, except kind of more of like a slice of a cylinder, is partially leaning against the other door, and it looks like it's kind of precariously placed. As you step in, you can see that it just teeters and falls over. You stop carefully, try not to make any sound, and step in. In here, you can tell that the floor is actually made of wood. It has wooden planks, and you can actually just barely see, because it's quite dark in here right now, that there is a large central shaft and sort of gearbox in the center, supported by various large timbers, and it looks like there's a shaft going out to the water wheel on the other side of this building. There are two windows you can see up on the second floor, and there is sort of a balcony that goes around the entire second floor. off to your right, against one wall, is a staircase going up, and on this ground level, you can see that there is a millstone with sort of a trough around it for collecting a lot of the flour that comes out as it's ground and is sort of expelled. There's a chute where grain is put in, and you can see that there's all sorts of other, timbers and spare axles. There are very large gears that are made of both wood and metal. Some of them even appear to be made of stone. And there's lots of other equipment around the sides of the room. There are no lanterns of any sort in here, and you can see that the air is sort of swirling with flour dust. And basically everything in here has a very light dusting of flour across the entire thing. It seems like whenever this thing is running, this flour dust just gets in the air, just as a byproduct of the process of making it.
Fun fact, Adam's first job was cleaning a mill. Like just flour everywhere. All day. Yeah.
So, what do you guys want to do now that you're in here and coming in very quietly? Doesn't seem like there's any more sound in here right now.
I'm going to give myself 5 more hit points.
All right.
I'm going to wait outside until he gives me the all clear, because there is nothing about me that is stealthy or subtle.
All right. Elyse, do you want to follow Jarran in or stay outside with Chris?
If he's going in stealthy, I guess I'll wait as well, yeah.
Okay. So, Jarran, what do you want to do while you're in here?
I'll go up the stairs and see what's going on.
Okay. So, coming up the stairs, a couple of them creak very slightly as you put your weight on them, but, waiting for a second, you don't notice that there's anything off or there's no more sounds. Seems like if there are any more of those sturges that were flying around, they're not taking any notice of you now. But then you make your way up the stairs onto the platform that goes around the entire perimeter, and now you can see that looking down, you can see that the large open area that you entered into, it looks like there was a cart there, but the cart was sort of taken apart and used to partially barricade the door. There, you can actually see that there is what looks like a wagon wheel off in one corner that looks like it was discarded because it wasn't useful to block the door with it. But other parts of the cart were put in front of the door. You can also see that there are several large sacks of flour that you weren't able to see because they were kind of hidden behind some machinery. And up ahead, you can see some more areas where there's almost like a bridge going across the entire middle of the second floor. Do a perception check for me.
5. Very perceptive.
Yeah, because of like the sort of creaking and groaning of the water wheel outside, you can't really hear anything much at all, and you don't see anything, at least from this angle, that looks very noteworthy.
I just yell out, guys, I think it's fine.
Right.
There's some flour. Come and get the flour, and we'll just go.
We still need to find the guy.
No, we don't. He's dead.
Yeah, we
dead.
do. Well, we'll come up in a sec. Is there any? There's not any like lower floors from where we are, right?
Do an investigation check.
Jesus, investigation. Oh, that's okay. I'm on my own investigation. Oh, great. 13.
It doesn't appear that there are any lower floors. It seems like there is the ground floor and then the upper floor, which is really just a sort of inner balcony that goes around the edges.
There's not another big rug, is there?
Doesn't look like it.
Damn it.
I'm going to stomp in and just check the lower floor because it seems like no one really searched that. We pretty much went up the upper floor.
Okay.
Just like to look around.
Okay.
Look behind things.
Yeah. Why don't you also do an investigation check for me?
3. Crit fumble.
Looking around in here, it's a little bit tough to see just because of all the dust hanging in the air. It's also kind of difficult to get around some of the machinery. So you're only able to kind of like peek back into the other half of the building, at least from where you are.
I'll
So I don't think
join them upstairs. Sorry.
Okay.
while they're doing that, I don't think anyone ever thought to do it, but I would like to, and this can happen while they're doing whatever they're doing. I like to actually go out and look around the immediate area around the watermill, like maybe between the watermill and the river, like that. Just kind of do a quick check.
Okay, cool. So Elyse and Jarran, what are you guys doing now that you're up on the second floor? You haven't really like gone to explore any of the rest of this. You've just been kind of like looking from where you are.
I'm gonna start, looking around, seeing if there's any signs where he could be.
Okay. And Jarran?
I just want to leave. I'm gonna go down. I've seen the pieces of the wagon, and I'm gonna go and try and put this cart back together so we can just go.
Okay. So why don't you know what even would that be?
Tinkering check.
Yeah, you don't really have any sort of tinkery stuff, but you know what? Just do a general intelligence check for me. See if you can figure out how to get all these pieces back together. It's almost like putting a puzzle back together.
12.
You've seen some carts in your time. You can probably figure something out. Yeah.
If the last 3 months has taught me anything.
yeah. The last few months of being on the road with a bunch of carts and wagons, you'd probably be able to put something together. Yeah. It's not going to look like the original cart. It's going to be kind of shitty, but you'll be able to manage probably. Meanwhile, Elyse, you wanted to take a look around up there?
Hmm?
Okay, so do an investigation check for me.
That's another natural one.
Yeah,
I'm really not very good at this. I've got my little glowing mace, and I'm just like,
yeah, it's like really really dark in here, but it's even beyond it being dark, there's just like so much like dust in the air that it's tough to see very far. It's like almost obstructing your vision. So it's tough to see without any light, and there's only the two small windows up on the second floor. So it's less about like even if you have low light vision, you're still not going to be able to see too much up here.
Could I light any torches around the room or anything? Anything that would be...
You don't see any torches around the room, though. If you have one, you could light it.
Do I have one? Yeah. I don't know. I have tinderbox and...
you should have a torch because you were
If
lighting
not...
one along the road earlier, I believe. You could just go and relight that one if you wanted to.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that and keep looking, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a good idea.
All the flour in the air.
Chris,
it's not flammable.
Chris, while you're outside, what do you want to be doing?
Boom.
I
knew
just
flour was
wanted
explosive.
to walk around the perimeter of the mill and just take a quick look to see if there's anything of note, or a body lying in the grass or whatever.
Okay. Do an investigation check.
I'm not being super thorough. I'm basically just strolling around, the building to take a look. I rolled an 18.
You don't really see too much outside. You don't get any impression of a person or anything else out here. There's it looks like there's no cellar or anything like that you could get into. And in general, it seems like most of the area around this building, aside from the main door, doesn't really get walked on a lot. You don't see any footprints or anything like that. If anybody is around, they're probably in one of the buildings or something like that.
Does this also count for the cottage? Have I looked around the cottage?
Yeah,
yet,
I mean, looking.
mill?
Yeah, the cottage and the mill building are both very close to one another. They're only about 20 feet away from each other.
So there's no muddy footprints going into the forest or anything.
You don't see any, no.
Okay, all right. Well, then I'll just go back in and join them.
Okay, so as you're doing this, I need everyone to do a Constitution saving throw.
Uh-oh. 17.
20.
All right.
17.
Okay.
That was surprising.
So it was Chris. What was yours?
17.
17. Elyse.
20.
20. And Jarran?
17.
All right, cool. So you all do make the save, luckily. However, that's still going to be, let me see here. It's going to be, 18.
Math.
No pressure.
You're all dead.
So that's going to be 36 fire damage as
Holy.
the entire mill explodes outwards from the air in front of you, Elyse, as you go to light your torch. The air itself lights on fire, throwing you against the wall. And there's this horrible roaring sound. Now, luckily, that 36, since you all made the save, will be reduced to half. But you are all thrown 10 feet and knocked prone. Jarran, you are thrown against the wall in the corner where the one of those wagon wheels was. Elyse, let me see here. That's going to be 1 second. So you are thrown straight back, and you hit the wall that's immediately behind you, and that's going to be just 1 bludgeoning damage as you kind of like slam into it. And Chris, that's going to be you will get thrown backwards and just sort of like skid and roll. Your eyebrows and dwarvish beard now smoldering on your face, and as you sort of are knocked backward by the door exploding off its hinges and pushing you back, you see that the entire roof of this mill building is currently arcing up into the air in many hundreds of pieces and slowly raining down everywhere. Tiny chunks of roof are just flying and bouncing off the ground. It would seem that something fucking exploded inside that mill, and
So much for the
Me.
flour.
yeah, it really exploded.
How many fire damage was it?
So since you all made your save, instead of 36, it's going to be 18 fire damage. Yeah. As this happens, you guys can all see that, yes, the roof has literally been blown off the building, and it seems that most of the contents of the mill building have been thrown into complete disarray. The large shaft attached to the water wheel outside is just bent and broken. It was a big wooden shaft, almost like the trunk of a tree, and it was just snapped to the side, and it's now kind of like wedged at an odd angle. One of the millstones, which was previously just kind of stationary in place, has been knocked off. The thing must have weighed probably a ton, but it's been moved, and the shaft connecting it is just like bent and broken. Some sections of the balcony that goes around the entire inside are just completely blown apart. Both the windows up on the upper level have just blown out completely, and they're just empty rectangles up there. And as you guys are sort of reeling and there's this ringing in your ears, Elyse, since you're up on the second floor, you would be able to see as there is now light shining in. You do see something fall at the back of the mill. It looks like it was probably right under where the shaft goes through the wall and connects to the water wheel, and it sort of falls from a broken section of the balcony. So, what would you guys like to do?
I cast Cure Wounds on myself while under my breath saying, I fucking hate you guys.
I'm just like, no one saw, and I'm just like dusting myself off.
I'm going to desperately make sure
knows.
my beard isn't on fire.
All right. Yeah, taking a few minutes to recoup and figure out exactly what's going on. The ringing does fade surprisingly quickly, and there is a sort of burnt chunk right out of the front of your beard. It's probably going to take some trimming to get it all even.
Oh,
and
hell
stuff
nah.
again.
I go into a barbarian rage upon finding my beard damage. I'm not sure what I'm angry at, but I'm angry.
All right, great.
What did you say I saw? Something fell down?
You weren't able to see what exactly it was, but you did definitely see something fall from the now broken balcony at the rear of the building.
Guys, you might want to come up here.
In my barbarian rage, I come charging in, battle axe at the ready, and then I'm confused, and my rage subsides because I have to attack something every round or it goes away. So
Right.
now I'm confused.
Yeah. You come inside and you see just complete disarray. One of your friends is leaning against the wall, casting a healing spell on himself. The other up on the second floor, staggering to her feet.
There's a Raz-shaped black imprint on the wall.
Yeah, there would be a bit of that sort of shadow thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So, what are you doing? What are you guys doing?
I saw something over there, but just catching my breath. If someone could go check it out.
I'm gonna go and sit outside. This is.
I'm very confused. I'm just going to yell, what happened in here?
All right. So yeah, Jarran just pushes past you and goes and just kind of sits on the grass and tries to contemplate things. What are you guys doing in there?
I guess I go over to what I saw.
Okay. Yeah. So working your way over a lot of these fallen beams and
Very
stuff.
carefully.
Yeah, trying not to disturb anything or cause anything to collapse on top of you. Over the next few minutes, you do manage to get yourself back to the rear of the building through all of this now broken machinery. And you can see that laying on the ground with the remains of a very engorged, huge, fat version of one of those sturges. Its neck broken at a weird angle, and it's one of its wings just completely blasted off. It's bleeding on top of him, but you do see a very thin body of a man who appears to be, if not dead, then at least on the brink of death. He seems his cheeks are sunken. His eyes are currently closed, but they appear to be very sunken as well. It looks like he has on his arms. It looks like where there was flesh, there is now just sagging skin. Where maybe he might have been fat before, but now he is just this emaciated, just disgusting looking person, now covered in a lot of burn scars. But
He was perfectly fine before we got here.
his clothes are in tatters, and you can see that on every surface of his exposed skin, he has tiny little red bite marks. It appears that this is
the
probably
thing off of him.
Yeah. So lifting it up, you can see that its entire abdomen is just engorged with blood. And it looks like the other ones looked like large bats almost, but this one looks almost like engorged mosquito-like. You can see the red coming through its skin. It's just disgusting.
I want to pick it up by its proboscis and throw it against a distant wall.
Do a strength check.
Like a water balloon.
19.
So you grab this thing and you just chuck it, and it sails through the air, kind of flapping as it goes, hits the wall, and there's just a burst of blood against the wall.
Dude,
that makes me feel better for my beard.
Yeah, it was all him.
That was satisfying.
Ignites everything for just bad.
This poor
where's No
still
Name?
alive.
Yeah, we should get him.
Yeah, do
back
a
to
medicine
town.
check.
Who?
Anybody who wants to.
12.
He's definitely still alive. He's still breathing, but he's unconscious.
I'll pick him up.
Okay.
This guy's the hardcore.
Yeah.
Maybe,
He's the real MVP. I'll just carry him downstairs.
kill for all those unnecessary burns.
I'll say, grab the body of that thing. It might be handy for, I don't know, something. I'll just take the guy downstairs.
I will stomp over, I guess, and pick it up again. It's
Okay.
much lighter now.
Oh yes, it is much lighter. Although
and I'll just carry it.
it's much lighter, and you notice that some of the large sacks of flour that were in here, some of them are now just soaked with blood. It's really, really gross.
No name, dude. Need you here.
I'm just not even going to reply. But
This man is dying.
So done. I am so done.
Hello. I don't have any healing left.
So over the next few
minutes, can I
minutes,
just try and bandage him up or something?
yeah, you do manage to stabilize him. He seems like he will probably survive, but he's in very rough shape. But you do manage to pick him up, and he's surprisingly lightweight. And you make your way back out through, kind of pushing between stuff and over things, and finally get back out into the full sunlight of the outdoors, as opposed to just the blasted open roof. And see that your no-named friend is just, doing whatever it is he's doing.
Hey, I've been calling you. Did you not hear me?
I didn't hear. No,
I really hope the
heal this
caravan is
guy
leaving
because he's
soon.
really hurt.
Okay, there's too much talking. I'm tired. I'm just.
Sunlight? Yeah.
I'm just ready for a nap.
I mean, why don't you heal him and then we'll go get you a nap and a beer and it'll be great. I promise,
okay,
man.
I'm
You've done such
coming
good
over.
work and you're just almost there. The sun's coming up, buddy. Come on, I just need you to work with me a little bit longer.
Okay.
One little healing spell.
Okay. Okay, I come over and I cast Cure Wounds on him.
Come on, buddy. There we go.
Yeah, so as you sort of kneel down and place your hands on him and cast this spell, you can see that the small bite marks and such all over him start to sort of seal closed. A lot of the burn marks on his exposed skin are starting to kind of heal over imperfectly. There are still going to be scars, though they're a lot less bad than they would be under other circumstances. And he does come to consciousness. You can see that his lips are very dry and cracked. It seems like
I give him some water from my water skin.
Yeah, he lets out this dry cough, and he's like, "Thank you," and drinks basically the entire contents of your water skin.
Ouch.
Yeah. So it appears that you have found Bucky the Miller. Is there anything else that you guys want to do?
Hey, did you want to go and check and see if there are any? Hey, you know what? You've done great. I'll go check. You stay here. Just make sure he doesn't die. That's fine. I'll just go run. You just stay. Just don't. Just make sure he doesn't die or anything. I'll be right back. All right.
I think it's probably all been blown.
Great. Then you just sit here and you. Okay, you done great. And I'm just gonna go and look for some flour.
Yeah,
saw any.
Yeah, you would have seen some of the stacks of
Little
large, sacks of flour in the mill building. And yeah, you could go and grab some.
I'll just.
All right. So yeah, getting the flour and the sun now coming up, and sunlight coming in and such. It's been quite a night. You guys do manage to work your way back to town, carrying this poor man, probably on a some sort of sled or cart that you managed to cobble together.
The cart, right?
Yeah. A few hours of plodding along in the mud later, you do come into the center of town where you see that, yes, the caravan is starting to pack up and get ready to go.
Quick,
what
let us
would you
leave
like to do?
before the miller recovers.
Oh, yeah.
He came in to just get some flour, and we've just ruined this whole town's source of food.
To be fair, he would be dead otherwise, but
They're all going to die of starvation.
I think they'll be okay.
So-
You'll make a swift recovery, guys.
So
I'm
as-
sure of
Okay, the
it.
baker will make a really big cake to
Yes.
feed the town.
Yes, at least
speaking-
they've got that.
Speaking of the baker, you guys do see now that it's daylight and you can see a few more of the buildings in town. You do see the baker's his bakery, just down the street, and there's a small child sitting out front who kind of like looks at you guys as he's kind of playing with a toy, and he drops his toy and runs back into the bakery and pulls what is apparently his father out, and the father's kind of like slapping at him. And he's like, "No, stop it, stop it!" And he like looks up and sees you guys, and is like, "Ah!" And he starts running up to you guys, and he's like, "Oh my god, hey, what happened? Is that? Oh my god, what happened to Bucky? What did you do to him?"
What did we do?
He's usually fat.
It doesn't work.
Oh my god. Is that like some sort of magic that you adventurers do? My god, he's so skinny.
Show him the thing that attacked him.
Oh god. Ew, what is it?
I have I'm still holding on to it. I just kind of.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh god, it's bloody. What is it? Ew.
There were like hundreds in his mill.
Ew.
Oh, and they destroyed the mill as well.
And then I just drop it at his
blew
feet.
it up.
Oh, is that what that sound was? Oh,
Yeah.
everybody heard something. We saw some
It's all the bats.
We saw some flames and some smoke earlier, like just after dawn. Well, what was
There are
that?
some carpenters in the town. The mill needs repairs.
Oh my god! Oh, this is gonna set things back. But hey, I see you got some sacks of flour for me. Oh, you guys are the best. And hey, I mean, you got Bucky here on a diet, so that's good. Hopefully, it holds. Oh man! Well, thank you so much. Would you mind taking these bags of flour over to my bakery? That'd be great.
I turn around and just leave.
Yeah, I come with.
I'll
drop it
I'll
at
help
his
him out.
Oh, that's so kind of you. So over the next,
I'm really sorry about
yeah.
the mill. It was
hey, it's not my mill. I just get my flour from there.
yeah. Some sorry for me. Sorry about that.
I will.
Is flour usually explosive? Because I thought that it wasn't, but I don't do a lot of cooking. So.
Well, I mean, yeah. If there's a lot of flour in the air, I mean, that's why I don't have any lanterns.
Live
in
and
that
you learn,
mill.
huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, let's get this back to my bakery, and then you can be off, huh?
I'm sure it's going to be a really good cake.
Oh, it's gonna be the best. So yeah, you do help him unpack the bags of flour from the cart right next to the apparently dieting Bucky, and he thanks you for your trouble.
He's
and
ready for the runway.
yeah, he's he then just kind of shoves the cart out in the middle of the street, and he's like, "Well, somebody will take care of him. I'm sure somebody in town likes him."
No, you'll take care of him.
This is not my responsibility.
It is your responsibility. You wanted us to go find him and help him.
I just wanted some flour.
You need to make sure he's okay.
Oh God! All right, fine. And he takes the cart and kind of wheels it back around to the side of his house.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, whatever. And he walks out of sight, leaving you now standing in front of his bakery. The open road to one side, your caravan to the other. And over the next couple hours, you manage to help your compatriots and the rest of the caravan get things together to get back on the road and head back.
Before we
to the
leave,
city.
I'm definitely going to buy some ale for the half-elven friend here who that's all he wanted is to get some ale, and he never
I'm
got
just
it.
laid in the caravan.
I was gonna snag a couple of cupcakes. Just be like,
All
okay, okay.
Yeah, so
Hey, Rio's is one.
yeah, and they do turn out to be pretty good cupcakes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Worth it, eh, guys?
Yeah, so now fully aled up at probably 5 in the morning or something like that, fully cupcaked up with the
Cupcakes and ale for breakfast.
Yeah, with
Living
the
the dream.
caravan now leaving very shortly. You guys do mount up on your horses and ride off onto your next adventure with your caravan
Next adventure.
and the Adventurers Guild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
thank you
working on a
guys.
cupcake.
Thank you guys for
Yeah.
joining me on this goofy little adventure. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you guys will come back either to watch or to play in the future. Jarran, Chris, it's always a pleasure, and Elyse, thank you for coming. I hope that you had fun. And I hope that maybe in January you can come back and play some more games of D&D with me and the rest of folks at Dungeons and Devs. Well, thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for playing, and I will see you all later.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, bye.